Hi, y'all. I'm Jess. Before we get started today, we just wanted to ask you to like and subscribe down below. It'd really help us out. Thanks, guys. Hello there, gentle viewers. Welcome back to the Wolf Sister Reviews channel. I'm Jess. This is my sister, Minnie. The movie that we have watched is called Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yeah, so this one was on Netflix, if you guys want to watch it. It was made this year, and it's an action thriller. The summary plot was, it's basically about a rogue assassin. She's part of a group, but she decides to take matters into her own hands on a specific mission, and the rest of the story is basically they're trying to get her. So why don't we dig in and let you guys know a little bit about this show. Gunpowder Milkshake. Okay, so the beginning, I liked that it started off with her narrating about the firm, because I feel like that, okay, if that was gone, I would have been lost.
I would have been lost too. I was glad that they did that.
And the other, something that bothered me was that we never found out who the firm was, who was a part of it, other than Nathan, who was the spokesperson for the firm. But is he part of the firm? Is he one of the head honchos of the firm? How does he belong? How does he fit into the firm to where, to me, it seemed like he was Sam's handler.
And Sam's mom's handler.
Yeah. So to me, it seemed like he was a handler of some type. But then he kept telling her, you can't mess up, you can't do that. Essentially, she was going rogue and not abiding by all of the rules that she was supposed to. But that was another part that was a little confusing for me, was they didn't really set rules. She's an assassin. How many rules can there be? Especially when you sent her on a mission and now you're telling her that she fucked up that mission.
Well, the standard, as a viewer, the standards seem to fall with whoever the assassin was. Whatever the assassin's rules of the world and how it works was how that assassin operated.
I guess that makes more sense, but it didn't seem very clear to me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why it was unclear, because you couldn't tell if all the women were constantly together, or if they really hated her because she left, or if they were a gang together, we all see things the same way, so we're a group.
Yeah.
Or if we were only a group because we work together. That, it was, I agree, it was unclear, but they did comment a lot that oh, she kills men and women. Oh, she doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
It was really just a matter of they didn't tell any of the assassins what to believe or what, they just were they just expected the assassin to do whatever the task was in front of them.
Right.
So they assumed that these assassins had no feelings and no morals and just were you have to go do this. But then the variable was what kind of a moral code does this assassin have?
Right. Does this one follow?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Nathan to me seemed like a handler, but at the same time, I guess I'm jumping a little bit, but near the end, he seemed like he was a part of the firm.
Yeah, with all those guys in the room.
Right, the board and how they went to talk to him about stuff. Was he a stakeholder?
Was he a liaison?
Right, is he just HR? Because he does say, I'm with HR.
Yep.
And so maybe he's the handler for all assassins, but there was just too many things that I was still questioning by the end of the movie.
So you felt confused. I didn't really feel confused. I was glad that she explained it that way, but I definitely felt like this was theater. We were watching theater play, because there was so much slow motion. There was so much dramatic entrance, dramatic this, dramatic that. They were delivering it in a dramatic way on purpose. There were parts of it I loved that for the most part. It was only near the end of the show that I was another slow motion. How many times are we going to do slow motion? Thomas? Is it Thomas? Isn't that his name?
Who's Thomas? Who's Thomas?
I must be remembering it wrong. The guy that's her handler. Nathan. God, I don't know why I thought.
Who's Thomas?
Nathan. Oops. Were you surprised that he was working for the bad guys, or that because I was
What bad guys? The firm or the mob? I'm gonna classify them as the firm and the mob, but I don't know who.
The firm, because I thought he was like, he clearly has feelings for her, like, and cares for her,
Yes.
and cares for her mom. And so the way they delivered the show, I was like, he's having a hard time with this. He doesn't want to have to send them after her. So he's hoping she'll like get away.
Yeah.
But ultimately I still was like, oh, but he's still going to go through with this. So either it's because he's up top, or he's scared enough of whoever's in charge.
Right.
And that he's
I think that what it was the board was there and they wanted to make sure that he was doing his job.
Oh.
So he was like,
and they were handling it.
Yeah, like that he's HR, so he has to do what he has to do. And they, like, I think if the setting was different and the board wasn't there, he might have like, I'll find a way to get you out of this or whatever.
I mean, the fact that the show is called Gunpowder Milkshake, okay? I didn't know that there was actually going to be like a milkshake thing in the show.
Right.
So I was like, oh, so they actually sit down and have milkshakes together, and that's why this is Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yeah.
Because her and her mom have this thing. And so when they're like drinking the milkshake, and every time she was like, of course I didn't drink it, I was waiting for you. And I kept wondering to myself, is this code for something? Because the way she would deliver those lines was like she was trying to say something without saying it.
Right. Like the way they stared at each other.
Yeah, like it was a code between the two of them.
I can't remember. I think that the moment when I was most interested was once Sam had taken Emily back to the hospital to get her dad. And she has to have Emily help her fight off the boneheads or whatever they're called. And the makeshift shield with that chair.
Oh, yes.
I was like, awesome. That was cool. Like, that was
really cool.
Very impressive that she could come up with, like,
not just that, but in that short of a time.
Yeah.
She knew they were coming, and she was like, we got to figure something out.
But that was also very dramatic. The way that the doctor was like, 60 seconds!
I know.
And then he runs out, and the guys literally are moving as slow as freaking snails down the hallway. I'm like,
I know.
You're not going to get to her within 60 seconds.
It was like building it up because they were all hurt. And so they were supposed to be slowly moving, like, we're coming to get you. But that was her time. That was what was buying her time, was like the fact that they're moving so slow. Because imagine if they weren't hurt, they would have moved a lot faster. So it was very theatrical in that way because they had to set up the scene.
Yes.
So they had to set it up on that way on purpose to make that scene so cool.
I may not be remembering it, but was the 60 seconds how long she had until the serum was like fully in her system, making her arms immobile? Or was it that it was going to wear off in 60 seconds?
No, it was that it was going to take 60 seconds before she was dead. Her arms were dead.
Got it.
So they had to wait. So
that's where I was like, it was very misconnected because I was like, if they only have 60 seconds until her arms are back to being functional, they're moving really slow.
No, they were moving slow on purpose because they needed to wait 60 seconds before they attacked her.
Yeah.
I did love that part about the car though too, about, her trying to drive and teaching her how to drive and stuff.
But I think that was the moment when it was, okay, I'm in the show. I can enjoy it now from this moment forward.
Yeah.
But there was that scene at the shopping mall. So she gets there, they do the exchange with the carts, and then the bad guys take off with the money into the car.
And she chases them.
Yeah. That, to me, I understand why that scene was put in, because the whole purpose of her even being there was the money. And she was supposed to get the money and take it back to the firm.
Well, right. That's why she ran after them.
Right.
She was trying to get the money to take it back.
But other than that, I didn't understand why they put that in there. The only reason it was there was to show that the money gets destroyed.
Yes.
And so the whole bad guys in masks doing this for a ransom to make a lot of money, like, they all died right then and there, that I was like, well, that was hilarious. Stupid.
It was hilarious, though. I mean, the whole show had this sort of like funny ambiance like to it that like
I didn't get that.
You didn't get that? I felt that everywhere. Because even when the guy was running off, like he thought he was going to run off and kill everybody else with the money.
Yeah.
I saw the things happening before they happened. And it was supposed, I got the feeling it was supposed to be funny. And then it was definitely supposed to be funny that she went out there ready to kick their ass. And then she didn't have to do anything because they were shooting each other already.
Fighting each other.
And then it was even better, that she went and grabbed the steak and went over to the vampire without a thought, and was just like, in the heart,
Yeah.
you know. Of course,
Yeah.
I love that moment.
But see, to me, the show was like, it was really serious. Like, I only laughed at one part, and I'll cover what part that was as we get further into the show.
Yeah,
But
perhaps it was the dry it was a dry humor, which leads me to another time where when you knew she killed the girl's dad,
mhm.
and so I found myself asking, well, is she going to tell her? Because she obviously holds this grudge for somebody who killed her dad. And now she just killed somebody else's dad. So this is a very serious thing. And she's talking about it like this is super serious. But are they ever going to have like a moment? Because every moment's so serious with this overcast of like this funny, to me, like humor. And I was like, they're not really going to have like a heartfelt moment, are they? Where she actually tells her that like, I killed your dad.
Right.
But then they eventually did. And even the way they presented that, it was just very kind of like an easy delivery. Just, I killed your dad. I understand if you hate me, you know.
Right.
But she did it because she cared about the girl. So there was that. The only thing that they didn't really deliver 100% to me was I wasn't really able to connect with the characters because they didn't spend a lot of time connecting us to the feelings and the personality of the character. Felt like a woman just directed this entirely. I mean, one of the most obvious to me parts was the fact that the mob is what, like 50, 60 guys coming after them, and there's what, 5 women? I mean, are we trying to point out how sufficient women are? Yeah, like we are so much more efficient too at things than men, like, because clearly it only takes 5 assassin women to take on this many dudes with a gun or a weapon.
Can we actually talk about these fight scenes for a minute? Because to me, like, yes, they were gory. Like they weren't leaving anything to imagination. Yeah. It was very much like there is blood.
Yeah.
With all of this,
mm-hmm.
But there were a few fight scenes, but the one that I really liked, because I think it was because it was so long, was the one in the library. And it was like maybe 15 to 20 minutes long. And it was basically showing how they didn't all group up together. They all went and they basically stood in different areas of the library. And that was to draw them in and
so that they have the high ground.
Them.
Yes. So that they have the high ground. That's what I mean. Is like all these men just come charging in. And look how easily the women, like, we have it all taken care of.
Yeah, they manipulated them into breaking away from this big group taking on 2 women to, oh shit, we've got to like direct their attention up here. Yep. So they do, and they go off that way, taking like what, 5 guys each direction plus whatever was staying here, and then whatever went through the little Heidi secret door passage.
Mm-hmm.
But
Heidi
it was like,
door passage.
Yes, that's what I said. So the part where they're telling her you need to look in the self-help section, like that made me laugh.
God, just like, watching her go through all the books. You're just like, where the hell is anything?
Yeah, and so
she's like, would a gun be in here? Nope.
Yeah, like I've just got to keep grabbing. But I loved that she found the gold bar, and the guy's coming at her, and she's all, okay, and she just starts beating the crap out of him with a big gold bar.
She pretty much just made anything she could find work.
Yeah, and I was like, good job.
But I also love the realistic part about it, that, you know, some of these men were huge.
Oh, yeah.
Because some of them were just average-sized men, but some of them were huge, and it didn't lie and try to make her seem like she was extraordinarily strong, like a superhero or something. She was just a woman fighting this big guy, and it was clear that, like, when he tossed her, she would just look like a little thread, like a little doll.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of realism to to that type of fighting. Like, I get that it was over the top when they would get shot in the blood, instead of it just being like normal. If you were to get shot, I feel like, yes, the blood would start to soak through your shirt, but it wouldn't do this weird projectile, like the blood splurts out at people.
I did like the fight scenes, though. That was probably my favorite part of the whole thing.
I really liked the fight scenes.
Aside from her protecting the girl, the fight scenes were my favorite thing.
And the one in the bowling alley, I wasn't impressed. Like, the trailer made that look like it was going to be a really good fight scene.
Oh, her with those 3 dudes?
Yeah, but like, to me...
Well, the bowling into his face was pretty cool.
That was funny, but it was...
See, there was funny.
But it was kind of just mediocre. A lot of that, like, I could almost see that there was a double doing the whole, like, ha, ha, ha. Like, there wasn't...
the way they choreographed it.
Yes, because I could tell it was choreographed because like it just the
She would
moment
fall at the right angle, then her hand would be right ready to come down, and then his head would be right ready to come up, and then she'd be ready to go down, and it was all just like it was just doop, doop, like we're dolls, and we're all just
like a little
together.
puppet, and they're like doing this. To go on to like the funniest moment for me was when they were in the library and the mob guy finally shows up with his bus full of people, and he's all,
I know what moment
something. I brought an army, and the girl, Sam, says, oh yeah? Well, I've got my mom. And they look at each other, and they just giggle. Like, I was like, okay, I can laugh at that one. That one was funny.
That is.
But that was the first time I actually, like, laughed while watching it. The other moments, it was like I laughed when I thought back on them. Like the bowling ball thing, for instance. I didn't laugh in the moment when I was watching it, but when I thought back and I was like, she freaking like bowled a ball into his face, breaking his nose. Like that was funny. I feel like everything that I liked about it was literally the library fight, because when she's like, I have to do this. This is my mess. I need to clean it up, whatever. And the mom's like, I'm not leaving her out there. And so you're like watching her fighting them all by herself and watching the mom run down the corridor trying to get back to her daughter. And they're doing this panning. You know, here's this fight, here's her running. Here's this fight, here's her running. And I was like, how are they going to enter her? How is she going to come in there? Like, is it going to be the underdog kind of situation where her daughter's getting the shit beat out of her? And then I see it and she comes in and she jumps and she's all boop, 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 boop. And I was like, yes, that's what I wanted. And I actually got the chills, even though I was like, I want that to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen. So when it did, I was like, yes. And I like that moment was fine for me being slowed down into slow motion. But every other slow-mo scene, it was
like, how long is this going to be slow mode?
Right. Like to me, the only slow motion can be Matrix. I'm sorry. Like Matrix did the slow-mo so excellent that you cannot compete with that. You like even in these fight scenes, they were not well done enough that it can even sit next to the Matrix.
Yeah. Like the show didn't really leave an imprint or have this huge impact on me. And I thought, as I was watching it, I thought it would more because, I mean, female like empowerment and her code, you know, was saving the girl. The fact that like there was more females than men and less females because we were better at the job and all these things that I would love if I heard about it in a show. I would think it would end up being one of my favorites, but it just kind of left me like, okay, that was a cool experience, but not anything I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
The music was good.
Oh, I loved the music.
The music was great. The fight scenes were great.
And I love how they incorporated the music. How Emily's like, can I turn on the radio? And she's all, go nuts, kid. And she'd turn it on, and then that became the music of the scene.
Yes.
And then the headphones thing, and then that became the music of that scene. Like, I really love how, because there's scoring in every movie, but sometimes it kind of just comes out of nowhere. And most cases, it's fine. Like, I don't mind it. But I love how they, like, made it into the storyline that was going to introduce the next score into the show.
And I love the whole ambiance of the show entirely, like even some of the dark mood sets of it all. The diner was awesome. Like I'd love to go to that diner someday. Probably could have made some of the characters that we hated, like they could have set that up better, because there was only one character in mind that I can think of that I was like, yeah, that's one of the ones I wanted you to kill, because he's the one that shot Madeline. He's the one that shot her and then ultimately like kicked her ass and she died. And then it was the delay. I thought, great, now they're going to have to go and they're going to have to try to kill him because they didn't get him. And his death was kind of lackluster for me.
Oh yeah, it was.
Because she was shooting up the whole place. And for 1 second I thought he's going to get away. And then she does some side angled shot. And you see it go through him, 2 or 3 times. So you knew he was dead, but it was like, I wanted to see his face when he realized, like, she got him.
Yeah.
Like, it was all just kind of lackluster.
The ending as a whole was kind of just, really? Like,
that's it?
Yeah. Like, they warned him, tell them that we spared their lives for the 8-year-old.
Yeah, it was an 8-year-old.
And instead of, like, opening it up for maybe a second movie.
Yeah, like watch out, like watch yourself.
Right, like
because we're watching you.
Like showing the women planning some scheme to go after the firm, and then there's a second movie. Now you have an opening to a whole second movie and what to expect and what that one's going to be about.
That I didn't like was they could have done, which they had an opportunity to make it something, and I just was kind of...
You felt like they missed it?
Yeah,
they missed the opportunity.
It was a missed opportunity. There we go. Exactly. It was a missed opportunity when she was like, so what's the plan, Mom?
Yep.
And her mom's like, I don't have a plan. And she's like, but your mom, you always have a plan. And then it's just like silence. And she's like, I guess I don't.
Right.
And then I was like, is that it? So like, you're just going to let your daughter run off? Okay. So then she's showing up at the diner was really awesome. And she was like, I guess I did have a plan. But I was like, there was so much more. Like, there was such a missed opportunity. There was so much more you could have done with that.
Right.
I mean, because we know you had a plan, but you kept trying to play this mysterious thing. They kept trying to play the mom off so mysteriously.
Right.
She's got so many like things brewing in her head.
Well, and I think that it was part of me when that was like every time that Sam said to her mother, you have a plan, right? And she's like, no, I don't have a plan. I like in those moments, I almost felt like it was the mom trying to teach the daughter to be a planner and not rely on someone else to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what like
her mom did have a plan, but she was still parenting her.
Yes,
it was her parenting.
It was her way of, I want to see what you can come up with. I don't want to make you go along with my plan. I want to see what you're gonna do. She goes to the diner and they're doing that, and she's just trying to get them, let her go, blah blah blah. He's like, I'll let her go after I do what I do to you. I want her to see what I do to you. And I'm like, oh, that's terrible. Like, please let something else happen. Like, have the waitress. So I was thinking, have the waitress come over and be like, here's a milkshake, your favorite, because of that scene in the beginning. To me, that would have tied it all together if she was like, here, for my favorite customer, here's your normal or here's your usual. And there was like some kind of hidden gun in the milkshake that Sam was going to see. And she was going to be like,
or some sort of sign. Not even just a gun, but some sort of sign in there. Because I was waiting for that I was waiting for that waitress to actually do something.
Right.
You knew she was on the girl's side and the mom's side. You knew she wanted to do something.
She wanted to help.
But she didn't end up actually doing anything.
No.
And then the moms, I love that the moms infiltrated, or not the moms, God, listen to me.
The mom and aunts.
The mom and the aunts, like, infiltrated the diner there at the end. I just kept
calling them the women, because they don't have a name.
They didn't have a name. You weren't really sure.
I feel like they called themselves the librarians, but, like, that was only used one time.
That whole analogy was cute, though. Like, that they were trying to make it seem like they were all very self-conscious of children, which was also funny.
But clearly my imagination is a little more wild than what the directors or the script writers, whatever, had in mind, because I would have used a milkshake. Like, you would have, it would have.
Yeah. I mean, that's so 100%.
Like, why didn't they do that? Why didn't they?
They started it out that way. It only would have made sense for the milkshakes to have more meaning than,
like, why put that in there that you're my favorite customer and here's your usual? Why put that in if you're not going to close it when the closing scene is in the diner? Like, another, once again, missed opportunity to do something creative and be like, here's your milkshake. And then she notices there's only one straw or something. And for years, she's given her two. So that was a sign of something. Or, just like a number of things they could have done, whether it was put a gun in there, put a knife in there, just have her use it to, like, pick it up to drink it and go, wah! Like, I don't know, but something to do with the milkshake.
Because it's so, in the beginning, when they're sitting there drinking the milkshakes, you're really listening attentively, and it's kind of you're getting close. Like, what's going to happen? What does this milkshake mean?
Yeah,
to this story, like, because this show's called Gunpowder Milkshake. So what's this milkshake? And then the mom comes in, and the whole conversation's very, like, slow and dry and delivered deliberately, and the milkshake's there, and then they share the milkshake, and then. So you're wondering the whole time, like, what was the meaning behind that?
Yeah.
And then the whole show goes on, and then it ends, and there was nothing else ever about the milkshake.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with the milkshake?
They could have called it the diner, and it would have been better, because...
That's true.
But either way, I think that's most of what I have to share, so I'm going to just let you know what I rated it. So I rated it originally, like, walking away from it, it was okay, I could give it a 3, but then the more I let it sit and process and whatever, I was like, no, it's more of a 2. It's a 2-star in my opinion because of when I still had so many questions. I felt like we've spoken here, there were too many missed opportunities of what they could have done with the storyline and the script and everything. But yeah, what about you? How was that for you?
I'd say 2-star. Well, probably 2.5 stars. And the half is really because I'd if I had to watch it again, I'd be fine with it sitting on in the background, and I wouldn't change the channel. But I can't say I'd like remember the title and then go buy it and want to watch it. So sorry, guys. What do you guys think? I mean, have we just seen too many movies like this lately, and so like
that we're so jaded?
Yeah, we're just jaded to it, or have we really? I mean, are we wrong? But I'm interested to know what you guys think. Did you guys see other missed opportunities where you know, wish they would have put something in there, or maybe wish they would have done more between the mom and the daughter to really make that connection for us? Do you did you think the fight scenes were, I mean, I feel like the whole thing was theatrical. Do you guys agree with that or not? I mean, I'm really interested to know what you guys think in this one, because I normally would really love a show like this, and I don't know why it was kind of left blah from it all. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave us some comments on your thoughts about this movie. It was a rough one, so we welcome everybody here. We want to talk to everyone. So anyway, keep shining, folks.
Bye.